Hello there, I'm Chris with PearsonCopy.com, and I'm here to help your brand make more sales with email. As a part of my 100 emails in a 100-day breakdown challenge, I am breaking down an email from the brand Seltza. This brand is actually a fizzy water, carbonated water tap on your sink. I think that overall, this product is pretty neat. I saw it. I do drink carbonated drinks, not soda, but water, fizzy water, things like that. So I thought this would be a fun brand to break down and just see kind of what their email game is like. Also, the fact that they can set this up with your tap on your sink actually really got my attention. I was really curious because most products you have to have on the counter next to the sink or in the kitchen somewhere, or go somewhere to buy if you get refilled, restocked, things like that. But this is directly out of your sink, out of your faucet. So I just thought that was unique and curious, and I thought I'd break down this email because of that. So with that being said, we're going to start here. This is a welcome email with that context. Please keep that in mind as you're taking insights down and just taking notes. This is the first email that I got from them, from Seltza. Actually, I think it's the second. No, it's email number 2. Sorry, this is the second email I got, and it's from the CEO. So that's the other reason why I like this email over their welcome email, because it is from a CEO, and I do like the fact that they do use plain text down here, and Donovan talks through the product and delivers a sales message here that I want to break down with you, paragraph by paragraph, line by line. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. The subject line here is welcome to the SeltzaTap community. And from Donovan at SeltzaTap, Donovan at SeltzaTap.com. So I think ultimately, it's a great job. Donovan is sending the email. It's coming from Donovan. I think the welcome to SeltzaTap community. I don't know if that's the best subject line here. I would test it because the first email did mention welcome to SeltzaTap and the idea of a community and things like that. This is the second email, so we don't have to remind people of that. And maybe that is the intent, is like, hey, welcome to the community. Here's an email from Donovan. Maybe test the subject line of like, hello, I'm Donovan, the CEO at SeltzaTap, or SeltzaTap CEO Donovan, or something like that, to where it's like, hey, this is coming from from an actual person, as opposed to an automated email from brand. So yeah, there's just some thoughts there. I think overall this is a great start, and I'd imagine they're testing this just to see what's going to get the most open rates or best open rates for them. As we move down, we have Seltza here as the header image. We have what I call an orphan text, which is just hey. We have a branded image here, or a product demonstration image, and then we finally get to the copy. So the thing about that is the first thing they open up when they see is just all this, and there's not really any context to what this actually means. The hey, is there text mixing? Like, what is this? Why is this just say hey? I'd assume that they're testing something and seeing if this actually gets better clicks and sales, but this just looks a little bit disorganized. And frankly, Seltza, I think, is a little bit too big. It takes the eyes to it, and then it's a little bit tough to get past. And then the hey here, you could probably just get rid of. The image, I think I would potentially use later. I'd use it down here, maybe in the copy, or just remove it entirely and make this email directly from Donovan and just go straight with the sales message that he delivers down here that we're going to break down in a second. So yeah, there's just some ideas about the header and just some insights here. Otherwise, if this is something that you do with your brand, make sure and test and see what would work better with how you use your elements, plain text with or without, things like that. You're always testing to find what's going to get you the best metric, best open clicks and sales. So once we move past that, welcome to the SeltzaTap community. So just reiterating the subject line of the email. And then we have a picture here of Donovan. It says, I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. Again, this is email number 2, so somebody should be familiar with what Seltza is. And if they open the first one, great. If not, then they have at least seen the name in their inbox. And this is Donovan. I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. I'm Donovan, the founder of SeltzaTap. I think that's fine. That's a great intro. Depending on the formatting, my PDF could have messed it up, but this formatting looks a little odd. I would potentially work on that when it comes to the email inbox. And then basically paragraph by paragraph, line by line here, I've got notes on most everything, and it's a pretty good sales message. There is a piece missing that I'm going to mention here in a bit that I think would strengthen the sales message. But overall, this is a great start. This is a great version of this sales message. So let's go ahead and dig through this a little bit. So we enjoy a good fizzy drink as much as the next family. Okay, maybe more than the next family, but with all the options that are available for carbonated drinks, we found that none of them were ideal. So this is the main concern, main issue, main pain point or problem, is that while we enjoy carbonated drinks, we just couldn't find any that were ideal for us and our family because we love them. And he's starting in on the problem of you have to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice something to actually get a good carbonated drink, whether that be health, your sanity, space on your counter. There's something you have to give up to get this, and that's what it seems like. That's the seed or the line he's planting, the through line that he's planting with this argument, with this sales message. And I think he does a great job of doing that here. And then he says a ludicrous amount of sugar that goes into store-bought soda. So there's a pain point and reason not to buy. The inconvenience and waste of bottled or canned soda water. There's another reason not to buy. And then the ugly and cheap clutter that comes with at-home countertop soda machines. So just to make sense here, he puts that through line in of like all the inconvenience and issues that come with existing carbonated water. So the big problem, and he mentioned those three specifically, which he's mentioned the problem and now he's agitating it, right? He's agitating the problem and saying, hey, this is why this is a problem. This is probably what you've noticed and thought and potentially felt when it comes to carbonated drinks. Even though you love them, you have to go through all this to actually enjoy them, which is not a great thing. So, and then he said, I started SeltzaTap because we wanted to lead a healthier, more eco-friendly life while enjoying one of our favorite things, refreshingly cool, crisp, sparkling water. So he mentions the problem, he agitates it, and then he says, this is why I started the brand. So this is like a brand origin story of why he started it. And he moves on here to say, we wanted to show people that luxury, convenience, sustainability, and health do not need to be mutually exclusive. So mutually exclusive meaning you can only have one without the other. You have to sacrifice something like I mentioned earlier, right? You have to give up luxury to have convenience or vice versa, or any of these items. And he found a way to combine all of those when it comes to carbonated water. Most of home soda machines require to fill their cheap plastic bottles up before you can make your soda, forcing you to make more than you want sometimes. This inevitably leads you to pouring your glass and leaving the half full bottle in the fridge to be forgotten until it goes flat. This not only wastes your CO2 and water, but money as well. So all these things that he mentioned up here, he's expanding on down here of just twisting that knife and just agitate. And he's reminding the reader that, hey, these are all the things you're going through right now. And I have a better solution potentially coming. And he's just foreshadowing that when he says, I started because of this. And he goes back into twisting the knife and agitating the problem. Especially when you're forced to buy their canisters and swap them at places they recommend at crazy prices. So there's the money piece. Here's the, when he would say waste piece, here's the convenience piece. He's mentioning basically the luxury, convenience, and all those things that he's basically expanding on each of those points in the sales letter. Next section here, we thought that there had to be a better way, so we invented SeltzaTap. It's the most convenient, functional, and elegant way to enjoy sparkling water at home. Unlike other soda machines, there's never any waste, only the exact amount of perfectly chilled sparkling water whenever you want. This is a great promise. This is the feature benefit promise. This is the big promise that SeltzaTap makes just after getting off of twisting the knife, agitating the problem. This is a solution to the problem right here, and it's a big promise. Now, here's the piece that I think is missing from this, because it's an initial question I had, and I do enjoy carbonated water, carbonated soda. I don't drink soda, but I do enjoy carbonated drinks, fizzy water, things like that. And this is the one thing I had right here. This piece right here with the faucet, I want to know how this works. I want to know the mechanism that makes it so this works, so I don't have to get something to put on my counter, or I have to pay extra to get bottles, or I have to do all these problems that he mentioned. It seems like he leaves the mechanism to this big promise and solution out. And I think that maybe one more line or maybe a paragraph saying, hey, now we know that SeltzaTap seems new, or we know SeltzaTap is new because we made it. And here's how it works so that you know that it's exactly what you want and it's not going to cause you any of the issues that we just mentioned. And you kind of explain the mechanism a little bit behind the solution. I think that piece right there is missing, because that's my next question is, okay, that's a big promise, but how does it work? I am curious to know how this here functions, because I want to buy this. I want to install it, but I don't know how it works. So I don't know if I should buy it and just buy blind and hope that it works, but I don't know if I need a certain sink, if I need a certain faucet, if I need a certain water pressure. All of those things come into play when after this big promise, and sharing mechanism could ease some of that until you get to the shop now where maybe he explains it on the product page. So that's a piece here with the mechanism to the solution that I think is missing. And I would suggest testing that and adding a line or two or paragraph explaining that mechanism. Next section here, now that you're part of a growing community, we can't wait to send you some great information on living and eating healthier, awesome drink recipes you can make with SeltzaTap. You're going to love it. So something here they get right into the community of like how you can use this. And again, just read through this. He talks about the big promise. He goes right to how you're going to use it, but he doesn't talk about how it works or what you get or how it works. So like the mechanism and what you actually get from this is missing from the sales message. And I honestly think it's going to increase their click-throughs and their sales if they add those pieces in. I'd imagine if they have tested it and they left it on purpose and it's doing better, then that's fine. But that's something I would test here. And then welcome to the SeltzaTap community. Shop now. That's great. And see, this is something else too. Instead of putting this giant image up here, because you assume like you're making an assumption that when you scroll down that people are going to know that this is actually carbonated water. You can tell, like, it's in the glass, it looks bubbly, whatever. But instead of putting this image here, get rid of this head, get rid of this image, shrink this header down, and start with "Welcome to SeltzaTap community. I'm Donovan. Nice to meet you." And make this an actual email from the CEO. And then down here in the shop now, put a product image here, or put a couple product options here, like 3 across or 1 in shop now. And use that image down here instead of up at the top, right? Because the more images and more images you use in an email, the more likely it's going to get caught by filters, meaning it's going to go to spam or the promo tab, because images are easily caught because of code, things like that. So email providers are going to catch those images and say, hey, yep, we're filling this as the promo or the spam because it is a marketing email. That's something with plain text that's awesome, is they don't get picked up for spam filters or filters, except for around what kind of words you use, and they're more likely to end up in the inbox primary tab, because they don't use images. So that's what I would do here is add the image down here for the product or the product line. And then to finish out the email, cheers, Donovan and SeltzaTap team. And the PS here is interesting. How did you hear about us? Reply to this email and I'll personally read it. So him personally reading it is not, I don't know if it's a huge win or a huge value add, but him replying and saying thank you, say, hey, reply to this email and I'll do my best to reply back with some information if you have any questions, or something like that, to create an interaction, right? Now, the other side of this is replies do help email providers see that your brand is real and that people actually want emails from you. So if you can get people to reply, even if it's a small percentage, it's going to help your deliverability at the end of the day. So with that being said, we're going to finish up here with the socials, standard for information, and then the Klaviyo box here. The Klaviyo image here is because they are on the free plan. They need to pay for a tier, the first tier, essentially a paid plan, to get rid of this and be able to remove it, or they forgot to remove it. So I would get that paid for and remove this as soon as possible, simply because this right here just takes attention away. If they scroll and say, Klaviyo, what's that? Most consumers don't know what Klaviyo is, and they might click on this, which I believe goes to Klaviyo itself. So yep, otherwise, I think this email overall does a great job. I really like the angle of coming from a CEO. There's only been a few brands across all these breakdowns where the second, third, or fourth email has been from a CEO. And I think it's a super powerful email, and it makes it feel like the brand is real, as opposed to just being a cold brand that you buy from and there's no emotional connection. It's really just you buying stuff. Where emails like this from Donovan and some other brands that have done this, there's now a personal connection with Donovan and just getting to know him as the founder of the brand, and potentially the team if you want to introduce your team in one of these emails as well. With that being said, I hope you got some insights from this. Take it back to your brand to help get and apply it to get more sales with email. And with that being said, check out my YouTube channel where I have other emails where I'm doing breakdowns like this one. And then with that being said, as well, I hope you found this information useful, and I will see you next time.